What's going on, Castle Country? Happy New Year from the Mike Metzger team. We're so excited to jump into this new year. Have I got some great stats and predictions to go over at the end of this video? But first, let's cover the last 2 weeks in Castle Country, shall we? Here's what happened. Balanced market. Even in the midst of the Christmas and New Year's buildup, there were still 6 new listings, 6 properties went under contract, and get this, 16 properties that closed. Wow. So of those 6 that came on the market, from 249 up to 490, of the 6 that went under contract, 300 to 595, and of the 16 that sold, from 75,000 up to 1.35 for a gorgeous cabin up in Schofield. Number of listings in Castle Country dipped down to 118 in Carbon and 32 in Emery County, 72 in Price, 11 in Helper, 11 in Wellington, and 15 in East Carbon and Sunnyside. Average days on markets for sold properties is hovering at 89. Average days on market for listed properties is 177. Why is that? Well, there's a lot of factors. Some of that is that there's a lot of higher end properties that have just been kind of sitting there because of interest rates. I'll talk more about that here in a minute. And the other factor is that there's just some properties just come on the market and hit the market perfect and sell, which keeps that sold days on market down just a little. Average sales price is hovering at just under 300 at 299,950. Average list price still up there at 401 and some change. So here's what's happened in the market. I want to share this graph here, and here is what I want to share. You know, second quarter is always a spike in listings. You've got 161, 149, 157, 146. 2025 was a little bit weird in that the third quarter actually had more listings than previous quarters. It was just an interesting quarter, kind of a weird one, and a little bit slower than any of us would have liked at the end of the day. But I think we're going to see this return to a cyclical market where you're going to see the second quarter spike. Listings drop in the third, spike up again in the fourth a little bit, and we're going to see sales follow that similar curve. And if you look at the same graph, except for a longer time period, this is all the way back in 2019. This is that baseline where we're returning to the last normal market. I think we're going to see a second and third quarter that are going to be similar, but a little bit lower. And we're going to see sales spikes. Sales are the black, and you're going to see sales spike in that second and third quarter. We're going to see a slow first quarter. But I do think as the rates go down, which my prediction is by the late second quarter, early third quarter, we're going to see 5.5%, 5.6% interest rates. We'll see if I'm right. We're going to see about 355 sales in 2023. 2023. Whoa. 2026. That's the problem with the live video. You can't go back and fix that. 2026, we're going to see about 355 sales for the year. Interest rates hovering down to that 5.5%, 5.6% rate, which is going to lock a lot of people that feel stuck into the market, and a lot of buyers are sitting on the fence into the market. So that's a little bit of the stats that I wanted to share, but wait, there's more. Give me a second here. I had them pulled up, and I must have changed the graphic here because they are gone. Give me just a second to pull those up. It won't take me too long. There we go. All right, pulling these in. Looks like I've got to pull them just to there, because if I pull them anywhere else, they're going to, there we go. It'll close me out. So this is the average days on market for the last 3 years, and you've seen it's gone up from 70 to about 82, up to sitting here at about 95 days on market. Officially, it's 89 for the year. These are pulled from different data sets, if you will, so they're going to be slightly different than the ones I just shared with you. Average days on market for the last 3 years. Price per square foot went from about 132, 133, all the way up there to 146 on average. List to sell ratio went up a little bit, went down a little bit, but it's right there in that 9 lists for, let's say listed for 100. That means you're going to sell for about 92.5. That's kind of where it's sitting and where it's been sitting for a long time. Total sales volume, we were up at 300 in 2023, plummeted to below 280 in 2024. 2025, we were up in the 300, about 320 units that we moved. And like I said, next year, we're going to move 355. Again, we'll see if my predictions are accurate. And the average sales price went up from just under 260 up to above 300. That's phenomenal. Now, that's for the last 2 years. Now, if we do all the way back to 2017, boy, people say, when's the right time to buy? 250 years ago, buy everything, hold it till now, billionaire status, right? But when's the best time to buy? Now. If you can afford it and it's the right time, that is the time to buy. Because look here, in 2017, you could have got a home on average for about $55 a square foot. Fast forward, and has this curve flattened a little bit? Yes. It looks like the COVID curve. No, we're not talking about COVID. That's a past season. We're done with that. Little bit above 140 on average, more than double in 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 8 years, 9 years, more than double what it was. The best time to buy is when you can afford to buy, because these numbers, while they could dip a little, they're never going to go back down to $55 a square foot. We will never see that again. The list to sell ratio, again, and don't mind that it started all the way down here at 87. It's a bit of an anomaly the way the data set works. The line right through here is showing, the busy, crazy COVID years, you were getting close to full price. And now we're right back to 2019, where you can get about 92.5% of your list price. Average days on market, it was up there at the 160. Then, of course, it plummeted to minutes, hours, days on the market in 21, 22, and started climbing in 2023. And like I said, right now we're hovering right around 90 days on market. We've been hanging out at 90 most of this year. We started, low 90, 89, 85, and now we're up to, 90 basically. And I predict that we're going to see that kind of, this curve's going to flatten out, and we're going to see about 90 days on market for the foreseeable future. Could bump up to 92, but that's where the stable market's going to be. Buyers have time to look at the inventory. Sellers expect to be on the market 3 to 4 months, 5 months if you start out optimistic, 20 months if you start out real optimistic. And that's what the market is turning into. Total number of sales, again, it wasn't zero down here. It's the data set, the way it works. Watch this line right here. We're going to be right around 350 next year for our sales. That's what I predict is going to happen. And you can see at the number of sales, it spiked in 2021 and 2022, and then kind of tapered. A little bit of an uptick as interest rates eased a little bit into that 24, 25 selling market. And average sales price per year, again, best time to have bought, 2017. Next best time is now, because this graph is still headed this way, especially as interest rates go up. That is going to, or down rather, that's going to cause the sales to go up. So there is the predictions for next year, the year-end sales stats review. Thanks so much for watching this. Looking forward to serving you into 2025. Remember, the Metzger team is never too busy for your referrals. As a matter of fact, we've built our business on referrals and relish those, promise to take great care of those, and can't wait to take care of you into 2026. Happy New Year's from the Metzger team.